Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, retold by Davina and Jojo.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. It happened on April 18th, 1775. There's hardly a man that's still alive who remembers that famous day and year.
He said to his friend, "If the British come tonight, hang the lanterns on the north church tower as a signal. If the soldiers come by land, hang one lantern. If they come by water, hang two. I will be on the opposite shore, ready to ride through Middlesex villages and farms to tell the country folk to get ready to fight."
Then he said good night, and muffled his oars with cloth, and silently rowed to the Charleston shore, just as the moon rose, where floating at the dock lay the Somerset, was a British ship with soldiers. It looked scary, like a phantom, with the masts of the ship looming against the moon like a prison bar. Its reflection was magnified, and it looked like a huge black hulk.
Meanwhile, his friend wandered, watched, and listened through the alleys and streets till he heard a sound that broke the silence. He heard men at the fort pounding the fort and stomping their feet in the measured march of the soldiers going to the boats on the shore.
Then he climbed to the tower of the church and up the wooden stairs stealthily to the bell tower's arch overhead. He startled the pigeons from their perch onto the rafters and saw shadows of different shades. He went up the tall, fragile ladder to the highest window on the wall, where he paused to listen and look down at the moonlit roofs of the town.
Beneath in the churchyard lay the dead in their graves on the hill, silently. He could hear the night and whispering from tent to tent. He only lingers a moment to feel the night and the secret dread of the lonely bell tower arch and the dead. Suddenly, he was distracted by the shadow of the ship where the river widens to meet the bay.
Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. He patted his horse and gazed at the landscape, but mostly he watched the bell arch of the North Church. And then he sees two gleams of light as he rode out as fast as the wind. The fate of a nation was riding that night.
He left the village, and beneath him was a lake meeting the ocean tides. You could hear the tramp of his horse on the way. It was 12 by the village clock when he crossed the bridge into Medford town as the sun went down. It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the weather veil swim in the moonlight as he passed.
It was 2 by the village clock when he came to their bridge in Concord. He felt the morning breeze. Who would be the first to fall at the bridge, and who would be killed by a British musket ball?
You know the rest in the books that you've read, how the British soldiers fired then ran off, and how the farmers shot ball after ball, chasing them down the lane.
So through the night rode Paul Revere. To every Middlesex village and farm was his alarm. The people awakened and listened to hear the midnight message of Paul Revere. This is the end of Paul Revere's story.